Hi. Today I want to talk a little bit about reselling products, flipping things to making some extra money, extra cash. That's the whole premise of it. But the whole thing in a nutshell is you have to source these products first in order to be able to have merchandise to sell on some of these venues. Hi there. It's John. It's my pleasure to have you here. If this is your first visit, welcome. And if you're returning, I truly appreciate you coming back. It means a lot. Around here, I share tips, insights, and laughs, hopefully, some laughs from my corner of the universe. Now, what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to be reading some of this from a script, but what I want to talk about is sourcing some of these items to sell on eBay. And eBay and yard sales and at the flea market are the things that I know the best. These are the things that I've personally done to flip some items and make extra money for myself when I needed it. Uh, how to get these items, how to get these items to sell on eBay, how to get these items to sell on any venue that you want, whether it's Facebook, Marketplace, whether it's Mercari, Etsy, or some of these other places that I'm not going to get into today because I really don't know that much about it. All right, one of the first things, and I think I'd mentioned this before, is make sure you check out your own house. I'm sure over the years, you've, especially if you have kids, you have a bunch of stuff in your house that you said to yourself, how the hell did I accumulate all this stuff over all these years? And it's probably a good idea to start decluttering now. If you doing your spring cleaning, it's a great opportunity. Take a look at some of the things that you have in your basement, your garage, in your attic, in your home that you want to get rid of, and you want to try to make a profit out of it by selling either one of eBay, a yard sale, or taking it to a flea market. Now, personally speaking, I think a flea market is better to sell some of your items than a yard sale. You'll get more money for it. And I think I've discussed that in the previous video, but I may hit on it again today. Now, again, after you go looking through your house and you come up with some stuff that you want to sell, make sure it's in good condition. And then get on eBay. And I talked about it last week, how to start up a eBay account, look to see if anything is similar to it and price it accordingly. Now, another thing you can do is talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, talk to your family. They may have stuff that they're just looking to get rid of, but are too damn lazy to get rid of it and say, hey, if you're reselling, fine, take it. I don't want it. You can have it. That's a good source of products for you to take from somebody else and doesn't cost you anything. A lot of people give away items for free. You'll see it in some of the listings on, I guess it's the next neighbor or door next door or whatever the hell it's called, that you'll see people saying, hey, if you come and pick this stuff up, I'll give it to you for free. And you got to be quick about it because a lot of people just, call up or send that person a message and right away, and they're over there picking their stuff up. So don't drag your heels. Look to your library. Sometimes your library will have a book sale and they'll get rid of some books and CDs and other periodicals that you may be able to pick up for pennies on the dollar and just flip it as long as it's in decent shape. You don't want to you don't want to gather stuff that you're not going to be able to sell because you'll just be cluttering up your house again. So I'm going to caution you when you're decluttering your house to look for stuff to sell on eBay or whatever venue you decide to do. Don't go out and buy stuff and then decide, oh, well, look, I like this. I want to keep this. I like that. I want to keep that. Because you're just going to wind up accumulating a lot of junk in your house. The idea is to flip it, buy it, and flip it. And I mentioned in my last video last week, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So you really don't know what's going to sell and what's not going to sell. All right, let me get back to my list here, my infamous list. Uh, and I have to refer to these lists because as I get older, there's things that happen. I have CRS. CRS is I can't remember in plain English. So that that's part of my age showing through, and I can't remember a lot. So I rely on notes. And sometimes I lose my notes. If I put it in my phone, sometimes I'll forget to look at the phone. But it is what it is. Now, one of the greatest sources of looking for items, and I've mentioned it before, is going to the flea market. You have to get there real early in the morning because there's other people doing the same thing that you want to do. They're looking for items that they can flip, that they can take home, maybe clean up a little bit and put it on eBay and make a good profit out of it. So, what you need to do is go early in the morning. And I mentioned again, there's usually a set group of people that come every week and they set up their own little businesses at the flea market every week. You're not going to find very many good things to resell from these kind of people. What you want to do is you want to look for the people who have a bunch of stuff in their house and they decide, hey, I'm not going to have a yard sale, or I can't have a yard sale because of covenants in the place that I live prohibits it, or I live in an apartment and it's not convenient. So they'll take it to the flea market and they'll get there early in the morning and they'll pay just the daily rate. Sometimes they'll go 2 days if they have a lot of stuff that they can't bring in at one time. And what you want to do is you want to get there and you want to look and you want to watch these people come in. And I can guarantee you there'll be other people with lanterns and flashlights and going from car to car, looking into windows to see what these people have for sale. So know what you're looking for, know what you want to sell and flip. If it's vintage clothing, as soon as that person comes in, if they get out of the car and start unloading, say, hey, do you have any vintage clothing? Or if it's advertising signs, do you have any advertising signs? Do you have any kind of advertising at all? And they'll usually tell you, yeah, I mean, it's in the back. I have to take my time getting it out. But, if you stay there and you watch what he's taking or what that person's taking out of the car, there may be something else that'll catch your eye that you want to flip and resell. So that's a good tip to do. And always bring cash with you. A lot of these people they don't have the availability of credit card machines at the flea market. Some of the vendors are set up on a weekly basis will, if they're smart. I did it one time, and I made sure that I had a credit card machine set up to my cell phone, and I was one of the few at the flea market back then that had this opportunity for people to use their credit cards, and it was great. I got many more sales because of letting people use credit cards, but most of the people that come in just on a daily basis will only deal with cash, and I can appreciate that. Make sure you have lots of singles with you, small bills. You don't want to carry around a lot of big bills anyway. You don't want to buy a lot of high price stuff either because you don't know if you're going to be able to sell that. All right, again, thrift sales. Uh, that's you want to go to the thrift stores. Goodwill and Salvation Army. Sometimes they'll have good stuff out on the shelf. Sometimes they won't. Most of the stuff is curated before it gets to the shelf. And some of the employees at these stores look through it and they'll put it aside for other customers that they know will come in and buy this stuff, or they'll buy it themselves and take it home. Hit your local church thrift sales. A lot of the churches have their own thrift shops that support the church, or some kind of a rescue mission of some sort. They'll all have this kind of a thing that you can look at, and I think you'll have a better opportunity of finding things. Again, if you have the time, hit the yard sales, hit the garage sales. And what you want to do at these places is you want to look for vintage toys, you want to look for books, especially first edition books, look for tools, electronics, and any kind of collectibles. Just don't buy junk because you'll never be able to sell the junk. Now, One of the things about yard sales, it's important that you get there early when they're first setting up. What I used to do is I'd drive around and I'd find people that were having yard sales, say on a Saturday, on a Friday afternoon. And sometimes they'd be setting up their tables in the yard. They'll be putting blankets or whatever they put on top to keep it protected from the elements for overnight. And a lot of times I would stop and I'd say, hey, I won't be able to get here first thing in the morning. I have something that I have to do, and I'm just not going to be able to get there. Will it be possible to look to see what you have? A lot of times they'll do it. There used to be a time that you could reverse search telephone numbers too. You just look at the person's address, do a reverse search, and find their phone number. That's when a lot of people had landlines. And you'd call these people and say, hey, look, I know you're having a yard sale tomorrow. What kind of stuff are you having? Apologize for inconveniencing them at that time. Is You ask them, is it possible for me to come over and take a look what you have? Because I'm not going to be able to get there tomorrow. I have other commitments. Half the time they'll say yes, half the time they'll say no, but it's worth a shot. Another good source is estate sales. Now, estate sales usually have a fixed number on their items, and you'll do better with furniture, art, jewelry, and vintage type of things at estate sales. Estate sales are usually held by companies that know the value of some of these things. Now, if you go later on in the afternoon when the estate sale is almost over, you might see something that didn't sell because they wanted too much money for it. And you might be able to talk them down to a reasonable price that you can turn it around and sell it again, make some money out of it for yourself. That happens. Uh, Facebook Marketplace. Again, I don't really have any experience with that, but I know a lot of people buy things off of Facebook Marketplace. Look at the listings, make sure that you know what you're going to buy. Most of the time it's face to face. People want to do, a transaction face to face. However, for your safety, make sure you meet this person at a public place. A lot of times people will do this and they'll do it in front of the police department, in the parking lot of the police department. And that's pretty smart. That's for your safety. So don't you can get ripped off, you can get hurt, you can get robbed, you can get killed. I've heard of all kinds of horror stories. So I particularly don't do that. I'm too old. I'm too too old to run away from somebody. Another opportunity would be, and these are hidden sources of opportunities to find things, are storage auctions. Abandoned storage units can contain valuable surprises. I'm sure you've seen these reality shows on TV where people congregate in front of a storage unit and they lift the door up and they're allowed to look inside but not go inside. From the outside they'll look and say, all right, starting bid is so much money, so I'll bid this, I'll bid that. And then the person who bids the highest gets the contents of that particular storage unit. uh, that's how auctions work, like that. And what they'll do is after they pay their money, they'll go in there and they might find some hidden gems in the drawers or something, old coins or stamps or any kind of thing that's valuable they may find. And the key word is may. Uh, check check your local auctions. Sometimes there'll be local auctions for things, for farm equipment. It won't be listed as estate sales, but it'll be listed as farm equipment or household sales. And there's all kinds of things, especially with the weather getting nicer right now. It's the beginning of May next week, or actually this week. And the weather's getting nice throughout the country. There'll be more opportunities to find that kind of stuff because people will be getting out and doing more of that thing. Now, another good source is recycling centers. Now, a lot of times the recycling centers will let you go in there and take a quick look around and grab something, uh, or they may not. They may just say, no, you're not allowed to go in here, but that's a good source. Another good source is, these junk haulers. They'll come in and they'll go into somebody's house and they'll take out all the junk. Now they'll do the same thing. They'll look to see, and I've seen it happen where somebody comes out with a whole bunch of junk and they'll spot something and they'll look and they'll put it into the cab of the truck and stuff like that. But ask the person, hey, what do you do with this stuff? Can I take a quick look before you get rid of it? I'll pay you cash if I see something that I want. That's a good opportunity for you. Another great source, and it may sound kind of tacky, is look on the side of the road. It's amazing what people put out on the side of the road for people to take for free. I mean, just pull up. If you see something there, just grab it, put it in the trunk of your car, and off you go. It happens a lot. Now, here's two or maybe three places that you can go to. Uh, I'm mentioning the big box stores like Costco, Sam's Club, or BJ's. A lot of times they'll have brand new merchandise that they'll put on sale that you can flip and turn and make a pretty good profit on. I'll give you, for instance, this morning I was over at Costco and they had Columbia packable blankets. And the list price on them was, I think it was $18.99 on sale, $4 off. So you could have got it for $14.99. Now, there's a whole bunch of different patterns and things like that. So when I got into my store, I got online, I looked on eBay, and I typed in Columbia packable blankets. And there's a couple of auctions up there for the same thing for $44.99. And there's a couple of items that have sold for that amount. Uh, so what I would do is, if I had the time, I would go back to Costco and I would buy a few of these blankets at $14.99. With tax, it's going to cost you about $16. So you have $16 invested in it. I would only buy maybe three of them and then put them on eBay. Put them on at a decent price. Beat that person that's got them for $44.99. Beat the price down. Figure out your shipping cost on it. It's pretty lightweight. It's not heavy. I think there was a couple of buy it nows on there for lesser amount of money, but they charge $8.20 for shipping, or they asked for $8.20 for shipping. It kind of comes out to the same amount as that $44.99. And the good thing about Costco and Sam's Club and BJ's is their liberal return policy. I know Costco, you can return anything except for electronics. Electronics has a 90-day policy that you can't return anything after 90 days. But everything else, you can return it whenever. Just say, hey, I didn't like it. I was going to give it away, and I decided not to give them away. Now, they have, every once in a while, they'll have Pendleton blankets on, and Pendleton blankets sell well also. You have to just go there on a weekly basis if you're a member, and it's not that expensive to become a member, and you might be able to use some of these products for your own home. Uh, if there's a local Costco or Sam's Club by you, check it out. They'll let you go in free. I think they'll give you a day pass or something that you can go in and look around and see what's going on. I know Costco, for instance, has Lego sets a lot. And some of these Lego sets you could buy for lesser amount of money than they'll sell on eBay. There was a special heart one. I saw it there and I didn't buy it. And I looked on eBay and it was almost double, maybe even more than double the price. And they were selling like crazy. However, I still got a lot of junk that I need to sell, a lot of product that I have at the store that's surplus that I could sell on eBay to get rid of it and make some extra money for myself. So these are just some of the tips that I have for today. Now, again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I would appreciate it if you do. It would mean a lot to me. My striving goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers, and right now I'm at 283. which is pretty good. I'm getting there, and it's only been since January. And if you like what I'm talking about and you want to hear more, hit the little bell down below, the notification bell, and it'll give you information of when my next video is coming out. And if you like this video, just hit the like button. I would appreciate that. Again, if you have any comments, good, bad, or indifferent, I have a thick skin and a thick skull. So it doesn't matter. If you say something really negative and I don't like it, I may, I may just say the hell with you and just delete it and block you from the future comments. But most of the time, the comments that I'm getting are pretty good. Again, thank you for listening to this person ramble on again today. I appreciate it. And thanks again for listening to me. You have a good day. Thank you. Bye bye.